Hello, today I will show you how to replace your keyboard in the Lenovo Laptop C340-15WIL. This process will be similar to other Lenovo laptops. The problem in my computer, for example, some letters were working, A, B, C, D, is working perfect, but E is not working, and sometimes other characters are not working, sometimes working, so sometimes it's working. So I decided to replace my keyboard and see what happened. Before you start the work, make sure to turn off the computer. And this process, like I say, it will work for other Lenovo computer. Maybe some details will change, but in general the process will be the same. First, you need to turn over your laptop and remove all the screws in the back. This is a third screw, and then the rest of the screw will be basically Phillips. So remove all the screws in the back, and we're going to proceed to remove the back cover. I will speed up the video so you don't have to see the normal speed of the process. It will take sometimes. So when it's a repetitive task, we'll uh, uh, speed up a little bit the video. So I don't want to make this video too long, but I don't want at the same time miss those important details to make this job properly. After all the screws are removed, we're going to proceed to remove the cover. So we're gonna open the laptop, and with a tool, prior tool, we're gonna start prying the cover from gently. We need to be careful. We don't want to mess up with the internal components. We're gonna gently pry up along all the way progressively, because if we start doing too hard just in one point, we might break one of the internal components. After you unlock all the plastic tabs, at the part of the hinges, I was struggling a little bit to open my computer. So I would suggest to stand up your computer on the side. I found it easier to finish on opening the computer here. I was struggling. I didn't want to break a component, so at the end, I found the conclusion that extend the computer on the side, it was easier to remove the back cover. So here, when I put it on the side, is when finally I was able to remove the back cover. There is no any cable attached to the back cover, so I was able to safely remove from the laptop. Once I opened the computer, I noticed that some electronic component has dust, so I decided to blow all the dust, and also with a brush, I decided to clean all the dust. I always recommend blowing the dust and not vacuum, because the vacuum can create some static and you can fry some of your electronic components. The first step, I will recommend start removing the through screws on each side. That will be the hinges for your laptop. Then to remove it, at the beginning, I was trying to remove it by hand, but it was not possible. So I found the best way. It was extending your laptop and try to open it. Like if you're open normally your laptop, so the hinges will separate from the motherboard, and then you will be able to separate. Then we need to remove the connectors. We're gonna remove this connector that is next to the cooling fan, and then we're gonna remove from the guy, and then just unplug from the motherboard. And also we're going to remove the Wi-Fi card because that's also connected to the screen. So with these two items, with these two components disconnected, we're gonna be able to separate completely the screen from the main motherboard, or from the main laptop. Then we're going to proceed to remove the battery. In order to do this, we need to remove one main connector that is plugged into the main board, and then we're going to proceed to remove three Phillips screws that are attaching the battery to the frame. Now we're going to remove some of the components to be able to access to the keyboard. Here we disconnect this connector lifting the tab, and now I'm going to remove this connector that is powering the electric fan. I was struggling a little bit to remove this connector. Maybe you can use some tweezers to. I'm removing here the speakers of the computer. It's just one connector, and then you just need to remove the wire from the guides. Now I'm going to remove the hard drive of the computer. These are basically four screws that are attached to the frame, and then we just need to slide back. After all the screws are removed, we just slide back, and that's it. To remove the fan is pretty simple. Just we already unplugged the connector, and just remove the two Phillips screws and just take it off. I decide now to remove the motherboard, so we're going to disconnect all the connectors that are attached to the motherboard. Here in the bottom, normally these connectors are pretty easy to disconnect, just lifting the tab and pulling off. Also here in the top right corner we have other connector, and I think this will be the last connector. And after this is done, just start removing all the screws that are attaching the motherboard to the mainframe of the laptop. After all the screws are removed, basically the motherboard should be ready to be removed from the mainframe. Oh, I'm forgetting a small connector here. Just lift the tab and pull it up, and we're almost done to access to the keyboard. This small board is in the top of our keyboard, so we need to remove this small electronic board. This board is where we normally connect, where we have our USB ports. Remove this plastic from the top of the keyboard so we can access to the rivets. So our keyboard is under this metal frame. These are plastic rivets, and I'm using this soldering tool to basically we're going to melt all the plastic rivets around. Once my soldering tool is hot enough, I'm gonna start to melt these plastic rivets, and at the same time with the plier tool I'm gonna lift it up. So basically I need to melt all the plastic rivets, and then at the same time prying up this metal frame to be able to access to the keyboard. This is one of the most tedious part to remove this keyboard, but it's the only way that you can do it. I recommend the piece of plastic. Save it, don't throw it away, because at the end we're gonna need some of the plastic to put it back again. We're gonna need some material to add and melt again. So at the end we can fit again this metal frame and it's gonna be again as original. So in this process, this will take some time. So I recommend taking your time, do it with patience, be careful, not fry or melt other around electronic delicate components. I'm just recording this part so you can see how it's in overall the process. But basically you need to do the same to melt all the rivets. I will speed up a little bit the video, but yes, so once you have the metal frame removed, we will proceed to remove the keyboard and reassemble back our laptop. So I will speed up the video here because this is, like I said, a long process. Otherwise the video will be too long. But basically you need to melt all the rivets all around with your soldering tool. And at the same time with this tool you need to pry up to lift up the metal frame, and underneath this metal frame there is the keyboard that we need to replace. After the rivets are removed all around, you can start lifting the metal frame to replace the keyboard. Here finally we were able to remove the whole frame. And now from the other side, we will start pushing the keys from the keyboard enough hard to break the plastic rivets. We continue pushing from the bottom until all the rivets are unlocked. After all the rivets are unlocked, finally we are able to remove completely the keyboard from our laptop. Now we proceed to install our new keyboard. Make sure to install in the same position, and the connectors are the same as the old one. Actually, my connector were a little bit different from the original one, but I was able to adapt it. I will heat up now my soldering tool. After your tool is heat up, we will basically push a little bit with our fingers the new keyboard, and with the soldering tool we will melt the rivet to make a new head. So we will make a flat surface and at the same time pushing, so and we will wait a little bit that this plastic solidify again, so in this way the new keyboard will be fixed. I was able to put the old plastic when the rivet was breaking when I was disassembling the laptop. So I was able with my soldering tool to grab this old plastic and melt together with this rivet because sometimes I need more material. If you find other similar plastic that they can join together, this also can work. Maybe from all device that you have, if you can break some piece of plastic and grab it with your soldering tool, that also work. You can grab it with your soldering tool, put in the top in the head of these plastic pins and melt it, so you can make a new head for the plastic rivets. I will speed up again the video, so we don't want to make this video too long. After the keyboard is fixed, we're gonna do the same process, but now it's going to be with the metal frame. We're going to push the metal frame. Some rivets will attach when we push, other no, because the plastic rivets are basically broken. So what we need to do is do the same process. With the soldering tool, we need to push with our fingers and at the same time melt the plastic rivet so we can fix again the metal frame with the frame of the main laptop. Here I'm using the soldering tool to add some plastic material and rebuild the rivet. Now we need to install all the components. We install the motherboard. Actually, this connector from the motherboard is different from the original one. The original connector needs to be folded just one time. To be able to adapt this keyboard, this connector needs to be folded in 2 times, and it fits perfectly. We proceed to install the fan. We install the hard drive. We install back the battery. We install back the speakers. We install back the screen. We install back the Wi-Fi card. Reconnect some connectors. Close the laptop with the back cover. Now the laptop is working perfectly. Please don't forget to like, subscribe. Thank you for watching Quick Do Yourself.